have people unmute and ask questions. I want to welcome Christina Sam, who has joined us. Hi, Christina. Christina is a student in an ISD concentration.
Hi, Prof. Kelly.
So we have a few people joining. We could get started. Does anyone have any questions about the concentration? You could post them in the chat, or you could unmute yourself and ask them. Do you want me to go over the courses that we take? Hey, Christina. Nobody wants to ask a question. Christina, if you were a new student or a prospective student, what question would you want answered? How about we do it that way?
Okay, so the only thing I would ask is with regards to preparations before class. So like, are there other things I need to know before I start school? Are there other courses I need to take before I start school? Yeah.
Great question. So what's the answer?
So the answer is, I think for some of the courses like SQL, it's better, it's okay if you take like a course, 1 or 2, just to get the foundation into my SQL, because that's what we use for 1343. And then probably, yeah, I think that was the only technical course. And when I'm free, for example, before I come to school next year, when I'm free, I'll probably go through what business modeling is, try to have an idea so that when I go to school, when I go to class for 1341, it wouldn't be a new thing to me. It would be something that I did over the holidays before I came. Yeah. So that's the question and that's the answer.
Great. Okay, so we have a question from Johnny, actually 2 questions from Johnny. One is, what kind of professional careers would this concentration go into? And the other one to you, Christina, is what did you study in your undergrad? So why don't you answer the undergraduate question first, and then I'll talk a bit about the careers.
Sure. So I studied business management, and not even here in Canada. I did it in Ghana for my undergrad, and I came to Canada for information. So totally different. Didn't do anything IT, anything information systems in my undergrad, and yeah.
And what would you say are some of your classmates' backgrounds? Are they varied?
So yeah, they are very varied. So I know people in the human biology. I know people who took communications. Two of my friends took information technology, but most of my friends took different courses altogether. Some do have experience in information systems, information technology when it comes to job, but most people do not. And that's not only to ISD, but most across all the concentrations. I know so many people who have no IT background, just like me, and they are doing well. They are doing excellent on the job. Sorry, on school. So
that's great.
If you don't have the IT background.
So the kinds of professional careers. So often you work in a kind of organization that you're typically either going to be a part of a team that is actually building information systems, where you're trying to ensure that you have all the requirements and the architecture set up, and you've done some modeling and some representation of the real world challenge, and you're now leading a team or part of a team that's going to actually build those. Or in some organizations, like in big banks and companies like that, banks have whole big teams that build their systems for them. But smaller companies might not have a team that builds them, but would hire a company to build them, but may still have a person in their organization that does that, is the one that would understand the needs and be able to formulate the call for proposals or formulate the requirements that would then go to an external vendor that would actually come in and build the system. In other situations, you may be a business analyst, so you're more on the business side of things, understanding how to strategize and operationalize the needs of a business, and so through the use of information systems. So then working with someone that's more at the technical side. In other cases, you'd be maybe more at the technical side, where you are receiving the business needs from another part of the organization, and you're working with the team that actually delivers the system. And it really depends a lot on your background. As Christina said, you can have a varied background when you come into the program, but that, if you don't have a computer science or IT undergraduate, then you might not work in that information, the technical side of the system deployment. There's also lots of people that do process improvement is a really big part of what a lot of organizations are doing now. When there's time there's change, you want to look very closely at all the processes that you have within your organization and how to optimize those and how to support them better through technological means. So it may be that things that are very manual could be supported through technology. So really getting an understanding of your process and how to innovate and improving your processes. I hope that helps. You would. Thank you. Thank you for thanking me and us, Johnny. Brittany asks, for past current ISD students who have completed co-op, which organizations did they do their placements? Ooh, good question. What kinds of work did they bring to their placements and what were their roles? Oh, so I don't know, Christina, I'll start, and then if you know of others, you can add them in. I know some people that did just what I was talking about, this whole process thing, analyzing processes. I know someone else that did a co-op where they were focused on a database system. So they were working to put different kind of constraints on top of a database management system. When you start a co-op after ISD, you will have taken 4 courses that are give you quite a lot of background. So you will have taken computational thinking, which enables you to have a really good conversation with and engage with the computational aspects of an information system. You will have taken process improvement, system modeling and process innovation, I think it's called. Oh my goodness, Kelly, I need to have these in front of me because my brain is failing me. So I'm just going to go to a website. Anyway, so you will have had a course that teaches you about information processes and process improvement and innovation. You will have taken a course on systems architecture and systems design, and you will have taken the database modeling and database design course. So you will have a lot of expertise, and you can do some pretty amazing co-op work that is pretty close to what you would do as a full-time graduate, actually. Let me show you. I'll actually, if you don't mind, I'll share my screen because I want to show you a little trick, because someone asked earlier, what are the what homework could I do? Christina asked that question before coming. And one of the things that I think people don't realize is you can actually look at the syllabi for most courses. Let me see how I share my screen. I am going to do that. Share screen, and I can't share that one. I'm going to do a Chrome tab. I'm going to do this one. Okay. Can you see what I'm sharing here? And all I did to get here, let me start over so you can see how I got here. Christina, can you just pipe in and tell me if people can see it?
Yes, it's in the chat. Is
it?
Yeah.
It's not in the... Yeah, you can see where I'm at, right?
Yeah, I can see. I can see.
Okay. So what I'm going to show you is, this is the main iSchool page, Faculty of Information page. You can go to current or future students, programs and courses, programs of study, and you could go to, if you come down here, you will see information systems and design, and then you will see me when I was much younger, and then you will see the required courses. So in your first year, you will take these courses. The information workshops are ones that all students in all concentrations take, and they're pretty fun because you get a chance to work on something that is kind of project-like and with students from other concentrations. But the main ones are, as I mentioned before, computational thinking, systems analysis and process innovation, systems requirement and architectural design, data modeling, and database design. And then in your second year, your only required course is information management and systems. And then, so what? Suppose you say, oh, I want to know what I need to look. What should I do to get ahead, or pre-work maybe for data modeling and database design. So you can. I just copied that. Well, I know it, so I won't have to do that. But so I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to go. I didn't have to go back. Current students, programs and courses, and then you can search for INF 1343, which is the information or data modeling and database design course. There it is there. If you click on this, you will see a little description of it, and then you will see that there's a syllabus available from each of the winter terms when it was taught since 2018, and it was actually taught summer 2019. It could be taught by someone different, especially in the summer, so the syllabus would be slightly different. You look at winter 2020, and you can see that it's being taught by Professor Arik Senderovich, and then you can see all the details of how Professor Senderovich is teaching it, that there are these 2 assignments, and the readings, and the kinds of topics that you will cover, and you can use that information to help you get a sense of what you might be learning when you take the course. Now, the challenge is that it will, not the challenge, but it won't be exactly like this. Even if Professor Senderovich is teaching it again, he will likely make changes to it, because we do that as we teach it. As new research is done, as new ideas come forward, as we learn from teaching it in the past. But it may actually be taught by someone else, and in that case it would be probably a different syllabus, but this will give you an idea of the kinds of topics in that course. I'm going to stop sharing now. So that gives you, I think, a sense, correct? Oh, Johnny's finishing up an undergrad in CS. Yes, it's definitely an advantage to include what you're doing in your personal statement. The personal statement's really an opportunity, and thank you for saying I still look the same. It's really an opportunity for you to talk about something that isn't in the rest of your package. So the fact that you're finishing up an undergraduate CS degree right now, that fact will be in your transcript, right? So in your statement, you can talk about how you expect to build on that, and why coming here with your particular background is something that will bring benefit to you long-term in your career, but also to your to the faculty to have you as part of it, right? So we look for students like Christina, who brings a background that is unique and special, and then makes a contribution while she's here, in addition to learning and going on to become a superstar somewhere that we can bring back to give guest lectures. We also look for, how you will combine what you've done before with what you're learning here to make an impact. So yeah, does that help, Johnny? Yeah. Yeah, so you have sort of a limited amount of materials to provide us with, and your transcript tells us certain things, your letters of reference tell us certain things, but use your personal statement to fill in all the gaps. Is there a concentration that complements one that is particularly well? Okay. Yes. So I actually think that it's not necessary to complete 2 concentrations. This is what I tell everybody, and it isn't necessarily what all faculty members agree with, but I worked for a lot of years in IBM and industry, and I can tell you that when we're hiring people, so the advantage to having 2 concentrations completed is that you will have that notation on your transcript, ISD and KMIM, for example, on your transcript. The real advantage and when people are hiring you, they don't really look at your transcript in that level of detail. Or if anyone is an undergrad at U of T right now, they know that you know, the U of T transcript isn't something very easy to read. And anyway, you know, so what your real advantage of multiple concentrations is your ability to articulate to a future employer the knowledge that you have that will help them with the job that they need to fill. And you don't have to have 2 completed concentrations to do that. In order to graduate, you have to have at least 1 completed concentration. But in order to convince an employer that you have knowledge that will bring value to the job they're trying to fill, you really need to be able to show what you've learned. And if that means you took an ISD concentration, but you took these courses in KMIM, and you did a project in a UXD course, and you took one of Leslie Shea's courses on policy, and you wrote a policy brief that was related to technology, then you can package all of that up in your cover letter to show that you have the knowledge that will help in that job. Another job may ask for somebody who has experience with project management, and then you can talk about your ISD concentration, the knowledge that you gained in some of the projects you did, and maybe you took the project management course, and you can talk about all of that and package it up. So I don't think there's a need to take multiple concentrations. I think you can take courses from other concentrations. I highly recommend that, in fact, but I don't think there's a need. That said, most students want to, so I will answer the question that way. And I would say that the nice complementary concentrations with ISD, ones that are kind of take you in a different direction. I think KMIM is an interesting one with ISD, because a lot of the knowledge management practices and requirements that Colin Furness talked about are implemented through an information system. So being able to straddle those 2 roles of a person who can design and analyze the needs and requirements and systems that are going to support the work that you do. A lot of that need in organizations is to support their knowledge management needs. So that's a nice one. I think it's also, I think also having the HCDS could be a good one as well, the human-centered data science. But I personally think you should take something that all students should take some things that are outside their comfort zone. I think archives and records management is another nice combination with ISD, because a lot of the records and that are being managed in organizations are being managed through information systems. So having that expertise as well is a good one. Okay, so Christina, do you have anything to add to the 2 concentration? What's a good complementary concentration?
So I think most ISD students also take data science, because especially those who love to work with numbers, with data, with big data, with AI and all that, they love to take data science. So it depends on what you want, what you are good at, or probably what you want to try. So something new that you want to try, something beyond your comfort zone that you want to try. But as Prof. Kelly said, data science, KMIM, archives, data science are really good for ISD students.
Great, thank you. The thesis option, Shauna asked about the thesis option. So it really depends. So the way the thesis works is you find a faculty member that you want to work with, or who wants to work with you, and you come up with a thesis topic together, typically. Often the work that what is needed when you're doing a thesis is to work closely with a supervisor who has interest in and expertise in the topic that you're interested in. So for example, if you're doing an ISD concentration and you're really interested in some aspects of digital preservation and curation, then you may engage with Professor Christoph Becker and start asking about his research and what kinds of things that he does, and then you would come up with a thesis topic that would be relevant to what he's doing and relevant to what your interests are. So a good way to get a sense of the kinds of topics would be to go to the websites of the professors that teach in the ISD concentration and find out what they're working on, and see how those match with your interests as well. I hope that helps. There's I'm just going to check something too online, and if it works, I'll show it to you. If it makes sense. So there is a repository at the library, and it collects master's theses. And I'm just trying to see if there's a way to search for Faculty of Information, or maybe Information Systems. No, I couldn't do it. Sorry. I thought if it was a way we could do that. Yep, thanks, Christina. That's it. Okay. Any other questions? Nothing's coming up? We're actually just hiring 2 information systems and design professors. I'm on the search committee for that. So we will be growing our group. So that's exciting. Are you for those of you interested in ISD, are there other concentrations that also spark your interest, or I know it's fun to kind of shop around. Data science is a very hot topic right now. It's true. Yeah, it's a good one. And UXD as well. Yeah, so UXD and ISD and UXD, you'll notice I didn't suggest those as complementary concentrations. And that's, a lot of students want to take both. But what I have found typically is, but you know, I could be wrong. And maybe it's a good question for Professor Olivier Saint-Cyr as well, because he's an expert in UXD. But it tends to be a different kind of mindset that is more the back end versus the front end. Some people are really good at both, or really enjoy both, but often they're quite at different ends of things. So I used to joke when I gave my presentation, because I always follow Olivier or Professor Saint-Cyr in the presentations, and I used to joke about how, you know, if you're, for example, the example I gave with the shopping, online grocery shopping, if the experience is brilliant and you just love it, oh my gosh, it's so easy to select things and put them in my cart and check out. It feels so good. I feel like I'm actually shopping in a store. I'm walking the aisles. But then when you get your groceries, if you got the wrong things or they charged you too much, or most of the things you asked for were not available, you'd be pretty upset. So that, you know, that it's that kind of piece that is ISD. It's making sure that when I do my shopping, if there isn't something available, that those 2 systems have interfaced and integrated properly, so that my what I'm presented with as an option to buy isn't listed until it becomes available again, right? Or, you know, whatever credit card system you're using doesn't overcharge your credit card, or get your lose your, you know, let your credit card number be posted on a website somewhere or something. So they tend to be sort of opposite in a way, you know, not opposite, but, you know, just different mindsets for those. But that doesn't mean there aren't people who do both and love doing both. So Shauna and Sawyer can do both. What else?
Can I turn on my mic and talk?
Of course you can. We
I
would
feel
love
like
that.
this is more personal. I'm like, we're already apart, so.
Absolutely, Sawyer. So it's interesting you say that. I'm just going to say one thing before you talk. When we teach remotely, there's this. It's been talked about a lot that we shouldn't require students to have their cameras on, because in some situations students are in different situations that make it difficult for them to do that. So we don't require it, but what people have commented on is, am I allowed, is it okay? And, oh my goodness, we love it. Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
I was just gonna ask, because I'm actually at Western University right now. I'm in their Media, Information, and Technoculture program.
Great.
So I'm kind of trying to segue into a little bit more of like the back end, like learning a bit more about actual, like, I guess the like hardcore like information systems, as opposed to more like the culture and technology stream. I think it's awesome, but I feel like I've done that, like that's kind of been where my undergrad has been. So I guess my question is just like, how do you think that this concentration would like complement coming from a background like that, as opposed to, I think Johnny said he came from like computer science, so like very different backgrounds, me being more humanities. Do you think like this concentration would complement that, or like, yeah?
I do. I think so very much. I said I used to work at IBM, and when I was there, one of the things that we used to talk about is it was easy. Now, this is no offense to Johnny or myself, who's computer science undergrad as well, and graduate work. But it's pretty easy to hire people who have computer science backgrounds, and they're very good at doing technical things. It's really hard to hire people who also understand the social and cultural aspects of deploying a information system in an organization. So we used to say we craved to find trilingual people that understand the technology and the systems, and people who understand the domain. So in this case, it would be, you know, if you get a job as a working at a bank, right? You have to understand the sort of financial domain of a bank. And the financial issues of a bank. But most organizations teach you that, right? And the third is that social, cultural, ethical component to working with systems in financial industry or working with systems in another domain. And those people are really hard to find. And that's where this program and this concentration is a real strength, because if for someone like Johnny or myself who has a computer science background, we can come in and build expertise in that cultural, social, humanities notion of systems, right? And the deployment of systems and the impact of systems. For someone like you that has a strength in that humanities side, you can come in and build your strengths in the technical and process and analysis aspect of the systems. And it's a really positive connection. It's really great.
Okay.
Combination. And then the thing is that you and Johnny potentially will be on a team together, right? And one of you will, be teaching the other about things, and you'll be learning from one another. And you in the real world, as many of you know, you never work with only people who have your exact same background and knowledge. That would be a waste. Why would we put all the people with the same knowledge on one team? We need people with all these different knowledge. Like Christina talked about the project management course, and that's one thing you learn there, that you need all these different. So you come together and you build something that neither of you could do, or you create something that neither of you could do alone, because neither of you have that knowledge. So it's really great. See, Johnny already wants to work with you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you'll both build up the knowledge to be those people in the organization. We call them also center of the table people, where you're able to be at the center of a table in a multidisciplinary team and be able to connect all of the necessary parts to create the whole that is really the value.
Can I add something to it?
Please, I was just going to say, jump in anytime, Christina. I dominate the conversation.
So just seeing Johnny's comment, it just reminded me of something, a project we are working on. So in the next, the winter break, myself and other ISD, HCDS students, and one other lady from computer science department, we actually formed a group. We are working on an app. So there's this residence on campus. There are a lot of students there. They don't have any application. It's actually great to have an application. We've told them a couple of times, and they are trying to be difficult. They are not giving us the go ahead to do it. So we had a meeting and we're like, okay, we're going to do this project and we are going to do it so well. I'm gonna come with my ISD background, someone will come with UXD, someone will come with data science, and then the lady in computer science would also come on board, and together we can do it. So I think in real world, so now whatever I learned in 1342, it's a course, it's a great course. Whatever I learned in 1342, I would bring it on board. All the practical things I learned in ISD, I'll bring it on board. And together with the other concentrations, we can develop this app that will be used by the entire residents. So yeah, we tell what we want, how to do it, and then do it together. So that is what I just wanted to share. It's very practical. Whatever you learn in ISD is very practical, and then you can use it in the real world.
Just pasted the course you're talking about in there. Okay.
And is that a required course that you took, or was that an elective?
It's
required, okay.
It's required in ISD, yeah.
And let me just give you a glimpse of the course. So in your first, so what you do is you kind of develop, design, and then talk about the whole process and everything of a system you want to improve. So what is something that you would really want to improve on? So for my group, what we did was to get a medical booking system, application for medical booking in Ontario, because we realized that there are a lot in the system. So we looked at how we had a vision in our assignments. So we had like a couple of assignments, 6 assignments in all. So the first one, you pitch your idea to the class, and then they give you feedback. And then in your second assignment, you learn something. You learn something about stakeholders, and whatever you learned, you're going to relate it to the development of your application. And then the next assignment, you look at the requirements, what you need to bring on board. So we have functional and non-functional requirements. So you look at all those things, and then at the end of it, you compile all the report, and then you share. So in the real world situation, the ISD specialist could work on all these things and then probably hand it over to the coders, and then they will probably code it. But you are the one who drives the whole process and try to make sure that you get the right things done, and then the right procedures follow. So that is just a glimpse of the course you'll be taking in 1342.
So yeah, Johnny, you said it looks like a preparation for a consulting position. A lot of our students do go into technical and business consulting and service delivery, which is something that is a big growing area. Yeah, leadership is a big part of the whole program. Because it's a master's level, professional master's program, that is one of the things that is, I would say, cuts across all of the courses, hopefully, that you have that learning how to be a leader. There are a couple of courses, in particular, the project management does teach about leadership. That's one that I've taught many times. And the other one is there's a work integrated learning course that Professor Colin Furness teaches, and that one also talks about not just about leadership, but about how work happens, right? How organizations kind of work together. Yeah, leadership is big. We build a lot of leadership that's the goal.
Do you have an opinion on the law dual degree with MI?
Yeah, okay, so sorry, just to clarify, Christina just posted the emerging professional course that is the one that Professor Furness teaches that I talked about. Do I have an opinion on the law? We don't have a lot of students that take it. Okay. It's pretty onerous to get in because you have to get into law school and get into our program, and then take them together. So I don't have a strong opinion. I don't even know anyone who's done it. I did have a student that I taught who came in after getting a law degree. So had a law degree, didn't want to work as a lawyer anymore, came and became information professional and focused on, I taught this person in project management, but I think they were an archives and records management concentration.
Okay.
So I don't know. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
There's a lot of our knowledge management students go work in law firms, actually. It's huge right now for law firms to have knowledge management, information management professionals working there, because there's so much, it's getting harder and harder for the lawyers to access the information they need. And there's a lot of technological supports that are available for lawyers to use to do that, but that they don't necessarily have. They kind of need a person that has that expertise to sit between them and the knowledge to get it, and to organize the knowledge in the law firm to support that access, quickly.
Cool.
It's hard for me to see who else is here. We pretty much had questions from everybody, I think. Brittany, did you ask a question? Do you want to ask a question? Oh, yes. Oh, the co-op was the question, yes. And I hope I answered that okay. I really hope we can be in person in the fall. That's my goal. But I don't know. We've kind of erred on the side of safety and certainty, I would say. We have found in our faculty that not knowing is worse than knowing. Being uncertain about what's going to happen is more stressful than not. So whereas many faculties and departments in the university decided about winter only quite recently, we made a decision about winter in the summer when students were signing up for courses. And we did have 4 courses then that we had hoped would be in person. And students knew then, though, that those courses would be in person if it was possible and safe to do so. We have since decided that, given the situation we're in Toronto, that we would not have those in person. We've also made a kind of pledge quite early on to students in the fall and winter that they would have a guarantee access to the materials and the learning, so that if they couldn't travel to Toronto or couldn't, it wasn't safe for them to be in person, but it was safe for in-person things to take place, that the instructor would make sure that there was a way or a mechanism for the student that wasn't there to achieve the learning outcomes of the course remotely. So Johnny asks, another aspect of information is cybersecurity. Yeah, we don't have a lot of that covered in this program, unfortunately. We do have a collaboration with electrical and computer engineering called, I'm going to look it up. I think it's called the Institute. It's the Identity, Privacy, and Security Institute at the U of T. I'll just post the link. We have a collaboration with them. The person that leads it from our side is Professor Leslie Shade, who is the person that's expert in information policy, but also in privacy and security. So it's an opportunity for students to take courses in the MI program, but then to take some courses in the electrical and computer engineering as well. You can see. I'll post this other thing in the chat as well. So, and especially for someone like you, Johnny, that has the technical computer science background, the computer security course in electrical and computer engineering, or computer security, cryptography, and privacy would probably be accessible. So you can see the requirements there. One of our graduates went on to lead security for to lead an aspect of U of T team.
I also know one graduate who is currently working with the PwC on their cybersecurity team. So yeah, I don't know. He did ISD and data science for first and second year, and he's working with them now. I don't know if I can share the LinkedIn profile with Johnny in a private chat, and then you can connect with him and ask how he got that.
That'd be good. Yeah. Yeah, I actually think the critical information policy studies and ISD would be a good combination too. Because what happens, one of the things that is so challenging in the world is that the technology is ahead of the policy, right? And the policies are playing catch up, and things like facial recognition software, which Leslie talked about when she was presenting critical information policy studies concentration. You know, the technology is doing things that are pretty egregious with respect to you know, equity and so on, and you know, so it's really important that we have policies that can ensure that these technologies are being carried out in ways that are appropriate and ensure equity and safety for citizens and governments and so on. And so, you know, we're in this state where technology is, you know, AI is so far ahead of what the policies are for AI. Drone technology is so far ahead of what the policies are for drones. Self-driving cars, we don't have good policies for self-driving cars, but that technology is existing. So I really think the combination of ISD and SIPs, we call it, or KIPs, it would be a really good one too. We lost Sawyer's video. Are there any other questions? Questions about the application process? Not that I can necessarily answer those, but I do have opinions usually. Questions about kinds of group work we have in the faculty or the program? Yeah, U of T's Citizen Lab is a pretty famous, yeah. And Leslie does work with them as well, Leslie Shade. Are there rolling admissions? Yes, there are rolling admissions. So the sooner you get all of your materials in, the sooner you'll learn your decision typically. And is anyone on the call a U of T graduate or undergrad? I mean, about to be a U of T graduate? No? Because we do have a program called, oh, are you U of T, Johnny? You should ask about the double blue. I don't know if it's on our website. Yeah, here it is. I will post a link. Oh, what is this? Double blue. There's a fast track admission to, but this is an old thing from 2018. So I don't know. This will just tell you what, it's funny what you get when you Google. Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a fast track for those because we have, can get in quicker, but yeah. So yeah, there's rolling admissions, and yeah, it's
Okay, I'm back.
okay.
I've returned. Quick question about, like, I guess projects slash like methods of evaluation. I assumed, and I guess this is probably not a good assumption to make, but that there's like no real exams, but I guess there totally could be. So how do you guys evaluate? Like, is it mainly project-based, exams, all that?
Yeah, it really depends on the course and the instructor and the way that they've designed the assessment of learning outcomes. So in some cases there are exams.
Okay.
In other cases there are not. I would say, Christina, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say the majority of courses do not have exams, although there are some. Is that your experience? Yeah. Okay, bye, Johnny. Thank you. Thanks for your questions. So yeah, there's a lot of it's project-based. A lot of it is group-based. And so, for example, well, maybe Christina, why don't you talk about like one of the required courses, like 1342 or 1341 or something?
Okay, so for 1341, it was a combination. So the first assignment was individual work, where you go out to organization and you look at their business processes, the activities, and you kind of model their business processes. So that is individual. And then in your assignment 2, what you do is you join a group. So you're put in a group and then you further model the business process. You pick one of the groups. Am I getting feedback? Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
So you pick one of the group's project and then you work on it. So you go deep into what you did in your first assignment. And then in your third assignment, you do group work and then follow the presentation. In what 1342 was also a mixture of that. So you had like individual and then you had group. I think 1343 was purely a group work from, we were supposed to have an exams, but thanks to COVID, it got canceled. So we didn't have an exam, so we had like 2 group assignments, and it was very practical. So we had to kind of create our own database system, create using my SQL, use all the things that we learned in class to create it and make queries and extract things for. It was so fun to do it. So it was also a group work. I think for 1339, which is computational thinking, it's more of individual work than a group work. Yeah, I think it was very individual from the beginning to the end, or probably with just one. No, I think it was very individual. There wasn't any group work. So it depends on the professor, it depends on the course, but most courses are group, a little bit of individual work.
Okay, thanks. And how are you finding group work? I know everyone's adjusting with COVID, but online, is it manageable? Like, how are you finding that?
Find group members.
Okay.
Actually funny nowadays because in class and when a professor says, oh, form a group of 4, you just look back. Are you in a group? Do you want to join my group? You look on your right and then you find people. But now it's a bit difficult. I know some profs are really doing a great work. They put up an Excel sheet and then they ask for information and the kind of people you want to work with, the time zone you're comfortable with, and then they can match you up with some group members. But most of the times it's you finding, so looking at the people in the class that you want to work with online, those who contribute, if you want very outspoken people, so you would rather prefer those who speak in class, even if it's online, and then you try to reach out to them. I did something, I sent an email to them during our Zoom class. I sent a message to the chat saying, oh, I'm looking for 2 group members. Anyone who's interested should send me an email. And I dropped my email. And I was surprised that moment I got like 4 responses. So you can also use that to get people, and then you can scan through their profile and then see if you want to work with them, and then you can give them the feedback. But it's not difficult trying to get people.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
So I'm just trying to type an answer. Shauna was, thank you, Christina. Shauna was asking about working full-time. We have a part-time option for people who have full-time work. I think it would be very difficult, if not impossible, to work full-time and to come to the program full-time. And there are no really TA positions, but we do have research associate positions. So Christina is currently working as a research associate or assistant for one of our faculty members. This year, because of COVID, the number of co-op positions was down overall a bit. It kind of picked up a bit since then, but we ended up hiring a bunch of our co-op students to help support them. We created positions for that as well, so we have some positions, but there are not TA positions. So it's tough, I know. Technically, there might be TA positions in other units, but usually the priority goes to the graduate students in their units. Thanks. I don't teach this term because I'm the COVID advisor. So, and everybody talks about how hard it is to teach to like little boxes. And now I kind of know what that means. So anyway, it's nice that I've got some faces looking at me. But I totally get not turning it on. And in fact, most days I don't bother to make my hair presentable, and I'll get on a call with someone and they'll turn their camera on and I'll say, I'm sorry, I can't turn my camera on. I am not presentable. Hair's like in a ponytail, and oh my goodness.
I'm actually sad because I really wanted to take a course from you, and I realized that you had
Not gonna happen. It's true. I met Christina like in the first term of her first year, and we never. I haven't taught because I was associate dean academic, and I said, "Oh, but I'll teach next." No, I was not supposed to be on leave this term. So anyway, yeah, Shauna says that at work too. Yeah. Where does ISD fit on the scale of the humanities to STEM focus? It's definitely not humanities. It's more STEM. If anything, there's some social science in there as well, but it would not fit in the humanities side of things. But it's definitely a STEM focus. The instructors that you have will have backgrounds in probably technology or computer science is the primary background that you'll get for the required courses. Is there a reason that, I'm just curious, Olivia, if you're comfortable to say, but is there a reason for that question? And were you the one that asked it in the main section? Because I've never seen that question asked before, and I'm just curious what I need to know about STEM stuff. No, we don't. Anyway, I've worked my whole career in computer science, so I've been in that STEM world. In fact, I just got asked to create a video for a high school STEM computer club they have. They want me to talk about the challenges of being a woman in STEM, woman in computer science. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter if you come from a humanities background. You can certainly be comfortable and enjoy any of the concentrations. That's sort of our approach to this. And there are students with humanities and social science degrees that are in the ISD concentration. My son has a linguistics degree. Is yours from U of T, Olivia? McMaster. He was at U of T. So there are lots of opportunities to get involved as well, and I highly recommend that. Doing the kinds of things that Christina's doing here. You know, serving as a mentor to incoming students, serving as an expert in the concentration to prospective students. We have, you would have heard from Eric earlier about the Master of Information Student Council. There's ways to get involved in that. There are also a lot of students set up professional associations, so you can become a member of the Association for Computing Machinery, the Association for Information Systems, and there are student chapters. And there was a time when we had a group of students who led a student chapter for the Association for Computing Machinery here in the faculty. I don't know the status of that right now, but I would be excited to help students lead that again in the future. That was interesting to them. How much coding is required in the ISD courses? There used to be a requirement for a Python coding course. That has been removed, and instead students take computational thinking, which does not have coding associated with it directly, or it's not part of the requirement. It's more about how do you think computationally, how do you understand how programs work, but you don't actually do the coding itself. You can take the Python coding course if that's interesting and exciting, and actually I would recommend doing so. But I understand it can be a challenge for some students, so not everybody wants to take it. And then SQL, there is, in the data modeling database design course, there is some requirement to do SQL coding, is my understanding. But you get taught it through the way. It's not expected that you come in with that knowledge. My watch just buzzed. Oh, it just told me to stand. That's all. No big deal.
Can I add that?
Sure.
So the professors know that we don't have any coding background. Like everyone in the faculty knows that most people who come into the faculty do not have, and it's their duties to teach you and direct you as you move on. So you can basically come with no, I've never done my SQL, I've never done any coding in my life, but coming there was a learning experience platform for me to go into my SQL and do a little bit of computational thinking and all that. So if you don't have, don't worry. If you think you want to study, you want to take some courses, online courses, to get yourself familiarized with the whole concept, go ahead. If not, don't worry. When you come, you would be taught from the scratch, and everything would be easy for you. And then the profs are also good. You can always get office hours with them. They are always glad to help. I go to office hours almost every time. And I used to disturb my prof so much with my coursework, be like, I don't really get this. Can you explain it to me? And they are very, very, you see the excitement when you go to them to your assignment. They are willing to help you. So yes, don't worry. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you should definitely go to office hours, especially in this time of the pandemic, right? Because we're lonely. Instructors are lonely. And we like to be able to talk with students and help explain and get to know you better. It's harder to get to know people in this world. So I think that's really, really important. So Heidi asked about how the career prospects are of the ISD concentration. And so there's a lot of different roles that our graduates will take on. They can be anything from a business analyst, process innovation person, someone who's more close to the systems analysis or systems analyst role, consultants, service deployment experts, there's information systems technology consultant. I'm just reading some of them. Digital customer experience manager, program manager, architect, application support specialist, client support and training analyst, data scientist, database research and expert, information access specialist, business architect, IT business. Is it easy to get a job? I think so. Most of our students are employed in their field across all of the MI within 6 months of graduating. The thing about getting a job, we also have a very active careers office, and we have expert careers people who will help you with your resume. There's this emerging professional course that Christina posted earlier that teaches really about the notion of work and being a professional and working in these professions and understanding yourself and how you like to work. It's really a lot of it has to do with not having the degree itself, but how you position your knowledge and your expertise and your ability to contribute in a particular role. So, you know, not if you the degree is important, but it's the knowledge that you get from the courses that you take and the experiences that you have. And I would recommend, if possible, to have you know, things that you can demonstrate what you've learned. So you, as Christina talked about earlier, there are a lot of project-based work that you do, and being able to package that up as a kind of outcome that you deliver, something you delivered. You know, if it's maybe you used business process modeling notation to create a business process depiction, and then to do a improved innovated set of processes. So you may be able to actually demonstrate, have a portfolio online where you can show, here's some of the process diagrams that I've created and some of the process improvements that I've made as a student. And everybody understands that it's not going to be something that would be, you know, necessarily deployable in a workplace right away, but it's a really concrete way to demonstrate that you have this ability to create process diagrams, for example. I'm just using it, or an SQL database, right? That kind of thing. Yeah. So it's a very sought after set of knowledge and expertise, but it's also something that's in a way kind of you're uniquely able to demonstrate it, right? By providing that access. Now, if you do this as a group, you just want to make sure you think ahead and you ask your group members if it's okay that you share it, that kind of stuff. So we're down to our three diehard ISD people staying in the session. We have 5 more minutes, I think, right? We're supposed to end at 3. I have to do a yoga, or I will. It's how I stay grounded during the pandemic. I do yoga at home in my basement, and I haven't done my yoga today, so I need that. Although it is a bit sunny out, maybe a walk would be better. Something to keep us. I read this during the pandemic. We should every day write down something that is positive. It's hard to find those some days, but write down something that is positive. Go outside, do some exercise, and do some brain exercise. And I think when you're a student, you think you're always doing brain exercise, but I play, oh my gosh, I play so many silly games on my phone. So I play games, Sudoku, Candy Crush. I just found a new one where you put balls into test tubes and you can't have 2 different colors touch each other.
Yeah.
I'm in love with it. So that's my advice to everyone. You've already taken this huge step to start thinking about your future and long term, and I wish you all the ability to also face any of our challenges in the short term. Brain games, great advice. Yeah, I love brain games. Anyway, it's great to have you join the session, and I hope that you will apply and come. And unlike Christina, I'll get to teach you guys. Sorry, Christina. She's graduating too soon. Great, Brittany. Have a great walk or yoga. Thank you. Oh, I'll put my email in here. Oopsie. If you have questions after the fact, if they're really just like about admissions or something like that, I might not be able to answer them, but I can point you in the right direction.
Okay. Yeah, that was going to be my last question. I was just going to chime in and ask, like, I guess any of the concentration kind of like liaisons heads, if we reach out to you guys just to like book a quick one-on-one, are you guys open to that? Like, and just have a little chat? Okay. I just wanted to make clear. Yep. Okay. For sure. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The challenge in your case is, though, starting in January, I'm not the ISD liaison.
Okay.
It's Christoph Becker, and he's great. It's just that he was supposed to be it now, but he's on a bit of a leave, so I'm kind of just stepping in, but I've done it before, and I still, if you feel more comfortable coming to me, I can still answer questions.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
It was great meeting you both, and
It was great meeting you too, Sawyer. And yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna, nope, keep going. It's fine.
No, I was just going to thank Christina for all of her contributions and advice, and it's always fun for me to have time with my friend Christina.
Okay, awesome. Well, I will leave. This is always the weirdest part to me. I'm like,
I know it
"Alright,
is.
I'm
It
going
is.
to go."
Yes,
And
you
log
may
off.
leave now. Everybody may leave now, and it will be fine.
Okay, bye,
Goodbye.
guys.
Bye. Oh, good. Thank you. I didn't realize there was a tour. 2 minutes. Thank you, Roshni. Oh my gosh, I should have told them. Thank you. Bye, Shauna.